The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Let's Talk Careers with Sara on Armed Radio. I am glad to be here to coach you about your careers and give you advice and tips about your resumes and interviews so you can get your dream job. Today, I'm going to talk about the 10 rules that job seekers are allowed to break now. So, the world is changing dramatically around us, and the job search world has changed too. You can't be a complacent job seeker these days. You have to be proactive. You can't follow the old rules. For example, you probably were applying for jobs online and then you waited. Or if you don't hear anything from the job that you applied online, and then you apply for more jobs online. Or even you wait as long as it takes for you to hear back, and one day you will get a job. Forget that nonsense. You have to break out of that mold to get a good job these days. You might think it's too risky to break the old traditional job search rules. If you don't break a few rules, you could wait forever to get your new job. For years, department managers have gone around and outside their organization's formal recruiting processes to fill their job openings. They use their networks and their employees' networks as their recruiting sources. They meet people at industry events and keep in touch with them and hire them down the road. You tap into the same informal networks to get your next job. You can break the old rules and step into your power. Here are some rules that job seekers are allowed to break now. Rule number 1. The rule that says your resume must be dusty and formulaic. Don't use meaningless robotic language like results-oriented professional in your resume. Tell your human story in your own words instead. Number 2, the rule that says you can't use the word I in your resume. You can use I in your resume. It's your principal branding document. You can use I in your LinkedIn profile too. The rule number 3 is the rule that says the only way to apply for a job is through the company's online job application portal. And the black hole recruiting portals are the worst job search channel there is. Use your network or reach out to hiring managers directly. Number 4, the rule that says you can't reach out to your hiring managers directly. Yes, you can. And you can find out through LinkedIn, the hiring managers, and you can just connect with them and then you message them. Rule number 5, the rule that says you must show up at an interview ready to meekly answer questions. Sitting in your chair and waiting for the interviewer to ask you a question, answering the question like a little mouse and then going silent is not the way to make your best impression. Try approach differently. Make sure that you show up as confident as you can without being intimidated by the interview questions. About the rule number 6 says you must be a job seeker or a consultant, but never both. And it's not actually true. You can be actually as a job seeker showing your expertise in what you know than thinking that you don't know. That's how you show your insecurities for being a job seeker that just needs a job. Number 7, the rule number 7 is the rule that says you're worth a few dollars more than what your last employer paid you. And that's the mindset that actually everyone thinks like that. I would quit a job to go to a job that pays me a little bit more. And this mindset has to change, because you can apply to any job. I know some candidates that I had a job that was paying them $25,000 a year, and they got a job that will pay them for $60,000 a year. So thinking that a little bit like traditional thoughts in your head probably is, I'm making $20 an hour, I'm just gonna go to a job that will pay me $25 an hour. Why to think like that? You can get a job that will pay you not $25 an hour, but something like $30 or $35 an hour, or even $40 or $60. You have to show your value at the interview, how much you're worth. And I know some jobs don't even show how much they're paying. So that's going to be negotiated and spoken at the interview. So, rule number 8. The rule that says you must do whatever a recruiter or employer asks you to do. That has to be changed, because they need you as much as you need them. For them to have a pool of talents is not really that much of a help, because they are looking for specific valuable in the candidates, specific attributes. So by you showcasing your value, you know how much you are worth, and they are persuaded to hire you, and they want only you. It's just how you sell yourself. The rule number 9, the rule that says you are an insignificant nobody, and anybody who is considering hiring you is more powerful than you are. And it's also not true, because I believe everyone has a potential, and that potential has to reflect on you at the resume, on your cover letter, and at the interview. That has to be perceived and conveyed to the hiring managers. So when the hiring managers will know that you are actually not like the rest, that think that they are nobody, that they just need a job, you are actually portraying yourself as something supreme, that you are better than those who are waiting online to get a job. And rule number 10, which is the last one, the rule that says you can't negotiate your job offer unless you have another offer. Never go hungry for a job. Never assume, okay, this job is already paying me good, I'm going to accept whatever they tell me just for them to hire me. If I say no, I'm not happy with the salary, they're probably not going to hire me. Again, the mindset has to be changed. You are not going to think like that anymore. You have to think yourself as valuable. If you value yourself, then other people are going to value you as well. So if you showcase yourself as a confident candidate, that you are sure what you are doing, and you are showing as though you have other offers available for you, then you are making them want you, making them want to give you the amount of money that you want. In negotiation, I've been talking about this forever. Negotiation is always necessary. But whatever job you're applying for, even though, let's say, the job is posted saying that they are paying $100K a year. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. Even though it does say that, you still have to negotiate for probably a few $1,000s more. You know, if they can afford to pay you $100,000, then probably $100,200 is going to be still they could afford. It's still going to be good, because you're showing your value, how much you are worth, and they see nobody else does this but you. That's how you make yourself outstanding, an exceptional candidate, that they are actually going to give you the money that you are asking for. I know I've seen for many times that the hiring managers, not even hiring managers, HR would say, we don't have the budget to give you a raise. But then, I don't know if you saw that, but I did. But then they hire somebody else and they pay about double or triple or even quadruple than what you're getting. So you're thinking, how come they told me that there is no budget, but they can afford for somebody else to hire with that kind of money? You know why? Because that person showcased their value, and that person already knows the rule to negotiate. You need my credentials, you need my qualifications, you know I'm qualified, you know I'm experienced. That's exactly the candidate you're looking for. This is how much I am worth for this position. If not, I have to go to a competitive work environment that I know that they can afford me. And for them to know that you are going to go to their competitive company, they will really going to be upset about it. And they don't want that. They want to hire their best employees. And especially if it's a manager or in a leadership role. So if they hire you, they know they have a win-win situation. They have the best and you are happy as well. So never think that you can't negotiate when you have a job offer. It's not true. And I always recommend to negotiate on the spot. So you don't waste time. They don't waste time. They don't give you 3, 4, 5, 6 interviews, to get to know you more. You just state this is how I do. I state the price on the spot. That's how I would do all the time. I would not wait for anything else, like not another day. So it's a new day. Employers are clamoring for talent. And if you're not sure, Google the term talent shortage or the term war of talent to see what I mean. And the job seekers have power in the hiring equation, but only if they use it. You can use your power to get a great job that deserves your talent. So why not start right now? Searching for a job is intimidating and daunting task, but it's really important to get a good job in today's world. Job hunting can be made simple and easy by taking the right steps. There are several things that you need to consider while looking for a job that really matters for you. If you have ever thought what the person sitting on the other side will think of you while reading your resume, it will really help. So there are 10 things every employer searches for on your resume. So the qualities of a good resume, it serves the best weapon during your job hunt process. And a well-written resume solves many problems. So make sure you write your resume in the best possible way. So I'll go over the first 5 qualities. Past experience matching profile, your career graph, flexibility to handle change, your past achievements, an eye-catching resume. Working in any company means you need to be alert and constantly productive. You need to follow the system, its rules and regulations, and many more things. Well, this cannot be proven in just a few minutes during the interview. But yes, your resume can definitely work wonders for you. It can help you in many ways. There are not many documents that will show your consistency like a good resume. Your resume serves as the best weapon during your job hunt process. And a well-written resume solves many problems. So make sure you write your resume in the best possible way. So here are the things that the employer might be looking for in the resume. Number 1. Past experience, matching profile. The job requirements and your qualifications should match with each other. Employers search for similarities between your past job and job under question. Thus, you need to prepare your resume in such a manner that it describes everything needed. Number 2, your career graph. Every employer wants champions and are in search of them. Thus, you need to present a steady curve in your graph. Your career graph should not be a plateau or something else. You also need to mention your responsibilities, promotions, and the awards you won. Number 3, your past achievements. If you achieved any of your goals, you need to write about them. You need to write about your actions and lead you toward your goals. You can also mention the awards given by the company. Number 4, flexibility to handle change. Adjustment is the most important thing every employee should be open to. Can you easily change yourself and adapt to things? Can you cope up with difficulties and come out positively? You need to prove this if you want the job. You need to demonstrate to the employer that you are a good performer and you can make the required adjustments for the new job. You can even list them in your resume, like your learning agility, communication skills, adaptability, and your tolerance to the stressful circumstances. Number 5, make your resume short and crisp. The recruiter is very busy, and he has only few minutes to read the eye-catching resume. Thus, in such condition, the recruiter won't be able to read a long resume, even if he wishes to. You should make your resume short and crisp. It should include all the minute details, work experience, abilities, and other professional information. You should be able to sum up everything nicely in your resume. Now, we're going to continue with the other 5 skills that the employers want you in your resume. Number 6, communication. Listening and verbal written. That's what they want to see. I personally put the communication skills under the highlighted skills, and also I write the cover letter, and they look through the cover letter about your communication skills. That's the proven document, how you communicate in writing. Number 7, leadership and management skills. Goal-driven leader who maintains a productive climate and confidently motivates, mobilizes, and coaches employees to meet high performance standards. That's another way that they're looking in the resume. Number 8, planning and organizing. You can write this way: results-driven achiever with exemplary planning and organizational skills, along with high degree of detail orientation. And number 9, problem-solving, reasoning, creativity. You can write innovative problem solver who can generate workable solutions and resolve complaints. Number 10, teamwork, resourceful team player who excels at building trusting relationship with customers and colleagues. Moreover, they are looking for specific words in the resume. If these words are not mentioned in your resume, then you are just wasted your time writing it. So the words are increased, reduced, improved, ran, trained, directed, oversaw, handled, initiated, achieved, spearheaded, strengthened, maximized. You don't have to write in the same order. You can just play around with it in a sentence here, in a highlighted skills, maybe in the summary, maybe in a job description and achievements. You can just play around with these words and just make sure it just flows smoothly. And there are so many ways to improve your resume, and I'm going to tell you about what to look towards, what the recruiters are looking for. So the resume needs to answer the recruiter's question. Recruiter is asking, what can you do for me? Right? So you need to create a resume where recruiters can envision you in the role they want to fill. Then you need to write toward the future. Your past experience should not read like a job description. Describe how you added value in performing your duties. Then you need to also quantify your impact. Show your accomplishments with numbers, not just words. This provides facts and evidence of your accomplishments. Then show the competition what it really means. In what I usually mean by competition is you need to brag about yourself. You did not just win a scholarship, you won a scholarship for $2,000, over 100 applicants completed. Social proof is one of the most powerful principles of influence. Connect with an employee. If this is a job you really want, you will have to go the extra mile. Connect with an employee through your networks, information sessions, and alumni outreach. If the conversation goes well, ask for feedback on your resume before applying. Word will likely travel that you are a great candidate for the position. And lastly, I want to say, show your passion. Recruiters know what a person with a full personal life makes people more interesting, innovative, and valuable at work. Passion shows that you are able to develop skills and share them with others. Share what makes you uniquely talented. Have you thought about how you are going to land your next six-figure position in 2018? How far along are you with preparations? Do you have a plan? The time to act is now. How much more successful do you think you could be if your executive LinkedIn profile generated double or even triple the number of quality job leads you are currently getting? How much closer would you be to finding that dream job if you were able to choose among multiple offers from potential employers? Learn how to take control of your job search by listening to my show every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Armed Radio, or message me on Let's Talk Careers with Sara, and join my group, Let's Talk Careers Inner Circle, on Facebook to post any career questions for free advice. So I want to also mention about the things to remove from resume. Hiring managers rarely have the time or resources to look at each resume closely. If you want to pass the test, you need to have some solid qualifications and the perfect resume to highlight them. Actually, human resources officers only give resumes a 6-second glance before deciding if your resume has potential. Please do not mention this on your resume. Objectives. Objectives are obsolete. Irrelevant work experience. If you are transitioning from one job to another, please do not include the job that you don't want to work in. Just include the skills, but not the job itself. An email address from your current employer. That's a no-no. You have to use an email address that is personally that you use. Do not lie. And delete unrelated and outdated info. Like I said to someone, now it's 2018. If you had done jobs in 1999, in 1989, in 1995, don't mention it because things have changed since then till now. Now it's different. So do not really, outdated information is not supposed to be mentioned. Personal details, nobody should know. Too much text, it has to be balanced. More than one phone number, it's a big no. Your full mailing address, that's a confidential. You cannot show your full mailing address. Show your borough, your city, your state, and the zip code. That's it. That's where they know if you live close by, if you live out of state. They don't need to know the details. They are never going to send you letters. Your hobbies. Nobody cares. Salary information. Nobody should know. This you discuss on the interview. Inconsistent formatting. So let's say you have different fonts in one job, another fonts in a different job. That completely shows you are not professional. You have too many pages. A photo of yourself, please don't do it. I know there are some templates of a resume that has a photo on it. Yeah, it looks pretty, it looks professional, but nobody should see your picture because this is already giving them a point to discriminate you based on your skin, based on your eye color, based on your hair, based on the way you look. Please don't put your picture there. Put your picture on LinkedIn, but not on the resume. Fancy fonts. Do not use fancy fonts. They're not readable. And you are not trying to impress them with fonts. It's not an invitation. This is just a resume that needs to look professionally written with the proper fonts. I would suggest Times New Roman. That is actually what everybody's using it as a general font. Short-term employment. If you do have short-term employment and you don't have anything else to add, if you do have anything else to add, that's great. The short-term employment can be mentioned at the interview if they ask about the gaps. If there are no questions about it, so you are safe. But if that's the only thing you have, then that's fine. If you're a student, you have short-term employment, you can mention that. Otherwise, don't. Your GPA, nobody cares. What's your GPA? Nobody cares if you're 4.0, if you're 2.75, if you're 3.3. Nobody cares. Irrelevant accomplishments or awards that don't belong to the job. Personal social media accounts. Nobody cares. This is not professional. As a recruiter, I would just go and Google you up, and that's how I'm going to find you on social media. I don't need you to put me in social media accounts. So to update a resume, no worries. Knowing what to include in the resume is not as hard as it seems. It is easier to find what fits and what doesn't. So if you need help with it, just message me on Facebook. Let's Talk Careers with Sara, and I'm going to guide you on how to write a resume. Maybe I'll give you template, something that you can check and see as a checklist if you included that, and I can review it, review your resume as needed. Now I want to go in more details about salaries. Okay, so now let's say you are you like your job and you're happy with it, but the salary, you've been already working there for quite a while and you want to demand a pay raise without getting fired. So I'm going to go over how to demand a pay raise without getting fired. So before we use the pay raise calculator, right? So they can tell you, somebody wrote on Facebook that she got a raise for 2%, and this is not really enough for her. So before we use the pay raise calculator, let's first be sure you understand who is ultimately responsible for how much you earn from the time you spend serving an employer. If you are not sure, so I'm going to give you a clue. It's not your employer. Your employer's perspective that your employer would love nothing better than to pay you what your time, talents, and skills are worth to the company. If the employer is not paying you what you believe you are worth, there are only 3 possible explanations. The company is not able to effectively compete in their marketplace. They might be in desperate need of better employees. And your value to the company is less than you perceive it to be. And a combination of the company that is not effectively competing with the marketplace and that you are worth less. So, profitable employers are not stupid. Okay, if your employer is profitable, they are certainly smart enough to realize that if they don't compensate their best employees with competitive wages, they will lose their best employees. They are also smart enough to realize that if they lose all of their best employees, they will likely no longer be profitable. So the first part of the increase your pay formula is to make sure you are and continue to be one of your employer's best employees. So there is an analogy of a golden eggs versus perishable eggs. What many employees fail to realize is that their employer is the goose that lays golden eggs. Each dollar you receive from your employer comes with a built-in earning potential. If you invest a portion of each dollar you earn, you will continue to earn income from each hour's work for the rest of your life. However, if you fail to invest any portion of the dollars your employer is paying, you have effectively turned the potential golden eggs into perishable eggs. And how to demand a raise without getting fired? So, find a full-length mirror, position yourself squarely in front of it, and then make the following demands to the person staring back at you. Do whatever it takes to become one of your employer's most valuable assets. Invest a portion of each hour's net pay so you can continue to earn wages from hours you've already worked, for as long as you leave those portions invested. I'll give you an example on how I did ask for a raise, and within 24 hours I got approved. I wrote an email every time I would speak with my supervisor when I was working and asking for a raise, thinking she's the one who is actually approving for raises, was a big mistake. She would just say, we don't have a budget. And I would look around and see other people are getting raises, and I would just wanted to learn what exactly they're looking for, like what they're saying to get a raise. And they hire new people instead of promoting, and the new people would know how to negotiate and really ask top dollars. So I had to do research and find out exactly the pain points that the employer has. So my supervisor was looking for people who had credentials. She was looking for people, she was not letting go of people who had credentials and the qualifications. So I was in the study plan, and I wrote an email to HR and CC them supervisor, and I explained my pain points, their pain points, and how it can be resolved. So I listed all the pain points that the employer had in a bullet points, and then I listed my needs. Now, when I say needs, I don't say my expenses that are rising. I don't say my personal information. I just say this is my value, and if you really want me to stay, then pay the value that I'm asking for. And this is my credential. This is where I need to be in this specific department. That will be as a promotion for me. And the supervisor saw the asset in me, and she decided to approve it. And she let HR approve my raise, the exact amount that I wanted. So the pain points, always look for the pain points that your employer has, that you know you are better than what they have. And you know that you can make a difference if you just show that to them. We had inspections at work in the same place, and because of my credentials that I was in a study plan, the inspection had no violations. They did not give violations, and the inspection was passed. So every time in a different site that the inspection was, I was called to go and attend there because of my qualifications. So the employees that they were hiring did not have the credentials needed because not many wanted the job that they offered. So that asset, I had just said to them that this is what I have and this is what I deserve to be paid for. If you take me to a different site, pay me for that extra. This is not just for free. So I really want to emphasize on that, and I really want to hear from you on what worked for you with my advice that you heard right now. Were you able to get a raise? Did you actually follow through my tips, or did you do something else and would like to share with me? You can just go on Facebook, Let's Talk Careers with Sarah, and message me there. or you can email me, letstalkcareerswithsara@gmail.com. Now I want to talk about the 14 job interview mistakes you might avoid to get a new job. Have you wondered, despite your good qualifications and various job interviews, you're still not getting the job? As the market is competitive out there, perhaps it's maybe something to do with how to introduce yourself at a job interview. Regardless of how qualified you are, you fail to crack the interview. There are many things that are out of control. However, don't sabotage your possibilities of landing a job with stuff you can't control. So I will start with 1. Not being punctual. Arriving a few minutes early, about 10 to 15 minutes before the scheduled interview time, serves two purposes. It proves that you are organized, reliable, and eager. It also allows you to have some time to compose yourself, use the restroom, and prepare for the conversation. Many common excuses for late, such as stuck in the traffic, then it is better you should inform them. You may be tempted to arrive earlier, but don't. It may create inconvenience for the interviewer, and it may also look as if you have nothing better to do. If you arrive early, then it is better you should wait in your car. Number 2, failing to prepare. It's important to prepare detailed information about the company where you are applying, so you will be ready to talk about how your skills and ability are a good fit for its business. For an out-of-box impression, do enough research to be able to discuss the company's recent mergers and acquisitions or new business model. You can also consult in the company's HR. It really shows your passion for the specific role and the company, and that's something that sets you apart. Number 3, selling yourself too aggressively or getting rude. Make a good impression on everyone you encounter. You never know whose opinion counts in the hiring process. Some people, many in sales or marketing, or who have stronger personalities, they will tend to take over the interview. They are controlling the situation too much. Don't try to dominate the conversation. Sometimes you want to find a good job so badly that it's been harder to keep yourself calm and polite. But being too desperate or anxious will only spoil your opportunity to crack job interview. A person likes to work with people who are positive, confident, and pleasant, not assertive and insensitive. The best way to avoid interview anxiety and worries is by staying in the present and focused on the job interview. Be eager and passionate about your desire for the job. Number 4, failing to sell yourself. Don't be shy or being too humble. Don't assume the interviewer will remember you, every detail from your resume about the awards you won or the sales goals you have exceeded. Don't get nervous and skip your important information about your achievement. You must know how to write an effective resume that catches recruiters' eye for finding a job. You can just message me on Facebook, Let's Talk Careers with Sara, and I'll go over this with you. Number 5, don't use cell phone. Even if you are checking the time, indicates the rudeness or suggests that you are easily get distracted. Before going to the interview room, turn off your devices. You may have written your notes on your phone, but in a job interview, use a pen and a paper notebook instead. If you use your cell phone during the interview to check your calls and text messages, it sends a red flag. Number 6, not properly dressed. Most employers are able to decide whether to or not to hire a person at the first phase of an interview. And the very first impression is a visual impression. So if you are undressed like you are not serious about the job interview, by not dressing professionally or not paying attention to small details such as shoes or clothes, you could be rejected before you've even started. Number 7, strength and weakness. This question is very common and almost been asked in every interview. It's important to emphasize what you are good at and minimize the truth about what you are not. The foremost way to answer this question is to reduce the trait and emphasize the positive way. Select a trait and come up with a solution to overcome your weakness. Don't mention much about personal qualities and concentrate more on professional traits. For example, I have to admit I sometimes miss small details in work, but I always make sure I have someone who is detail-oriented on my team. No matter what weakness you choose, try to put a positive word on your answer. Bad-mouthing former employers. Number 8. Never ever speak badly about the former employer in the job interview process. It creates bad attitude and impression. This behavior will spoil your opportunity to get hired. Number 9. Getting too personal or oversharing. Being friendly is nice, but it's important not to cross your limit by sharing too much personal information. Remember, you never know how the interviewer sitting will react. You only get limited time with the interviewer, so you should stay focused on your professional accomplishments and the company's needs. Number 10. Neglecting to ask questions or asking questions with obvious answers. An interviewer will conclude by asking, "Do you have any questions for me?" This question is being asked to seek that you are attentive or listening carefully to the interview or not. It's great to ask them to clarify something from the interview. It's not so great to ask about working from home, possible promotions, before you've even been hired. Don't ask anything like company's basic information. If it's available on the company's website, go and figure out, but don't ask it at the interview. Also, don't decline to ask a question. This will show your disinterest or arrogance towards them and the company. Having poor body language. Number 11. A lean posture can demonstrate a lack of confidence or boredom. Communication goes beyond words. It's important to make eye contact while listening and speaking. Offer a firm handshake. Try not to show off your nervousness if you have. Lying. Number 12. If you don't know or don't want to answer, then it's better not to lie. This is always a bad idea. When the company discovers the truth, you'll be immediately disqualified from this job and likely all future opportunities. Number 13. Referring to any illegal activity. The interview is not the time to talk about your illegal habits or drug use or any other habits that violate the law or employer conduct policies. Number 14. You are not gracious. Remember to thank each employer for taking the time to interview you at the end of an interview. A little gratitude in life or on the best place to search for jobs always goes a very long way. You are tuning in on Armed Radio and Let's Talk Careers with Sara every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I talk about careers and job hunting. If you would like to ask a question or would like to hear about previous shows that you have missed, you can find on Facebook at Let's Talk Careers with Sara. You can learn about jobs, tips, and advice on my page. If you have a career-related question, you can just message me on Facebook. Now I'm going to talk about how to write a letter in the email when you submit your resume. There are many factors that they are looking for, and I want just to emphasize on a couple of things. So applying for jobs can be awkward, especially when companies ask for application process that feels disjointed. We often see employers ask for applications to email both a resume and cover letter. Since you are emailing a cover letter, you have to wonder what do you say in your email? Obviously, not the same thing you said in your cover letter. So if you are faced with this awkward application situation, keep your cool and follow these rules and examples. Okay? Use a professional email address. If you're still using email addresses with fun code names like princess98@yahoo.com or huggybear@hotmail.com, it's time to create an email address for you and your professional life. We get it. You want to be cute or geeky or whatever. And that's great when you are emailing your friends and family. But employees see this email address as immature, and that's the last thing you want to seem to be like to see that an employer will see. Your email address is the very first impression employers will have of you, since you will see it even before they open your email. Think of it like this. Would you show up to a job interview in your ripped jeans and Chewbacca t-shirt? I hope not. So why would you show up in an employer's inbox as Chewy Fan 123? And when choosing a professional email address, use your name. You can use any combination of your first name, last name, middle name, or middle initial. For example, Samantha Collins at gmail.com, Collins Samantha at gmail.com, Samantha M. Collins at gmail.com, or Collins Samantha M at gmail.com. I hope you get what I'm saying. Definitely do not add a number to your email address, especially not your birth year. You can use most any email service you like, but some like Hotmail, AOL, they are just outdated. So recruiters prefer Gmail just because they like it. Your email subject line should be the job title. Keep your email subject line short and to the point to make sure the employer knows exactly why you are emailing. Make sure the job title is in the subject line. So here's an example of the subject lines. Computer technician position, advertised on Indeed.com, or computer technician application, or computer technician applicant, replying to a computer technician job application. Start your email with a professional greeting. Emails have become quick communications where we just jump in with what we have to say rather than greeting the person we're emailing. When you are emailing a potential employer, don't skip the greeting. If the advertisement identified to whom you should address your email, use that person's name as part of the greeting. If you can figure out his or her name from the email address, the username of the person who posted the advertisement or something else, go for it. Try one of these greetings. Good morning, Mr. Sanderson. Greetings, Ms. Johnson. Dear Human Resources. To all it concerns. Now, this is going to be your last resort and skip to whom it may concern. Idea completely. Explain your email's purpose, but keep it short. Since your cover letter explains why you are the perfect person for the job, your email should be short and to the point. Explain why you are emailing and what you are attaching, and that's about it. Tell where you found the job advertisement and position for which you are applying, and that your resume and cover letter are attached. Your email's body paragraph should look something like, I found your advertisement for a computer technician on velvetjobs.com and believe my skill set fits your needs perfectly. As requested, I have attached my resume and cover letter to this email. And then close your email on a positive note. When you conclude your email, end with something besides sincerely. Remember, you want this person to email you to set up a job interview, so encourage them to do so. Show them that you are open to further discussion and communication. Try one of these closings. Looking forward to speaking with you soon, or looking forward to discussing your goals, or looking forward to learning more about your needs. Now, the final checks are, before you send your email, double check that you have correctly entered the employer's email address and make sure you have attached both your resume and cover letter. Be sure you file names. Tell both your name and what the file is, like Katie_Evans_resume or cover_letter_Gerald_Fox. The more you can make the employer's life easier, the more they will see you as an asset. So I'm going to give you a full example of an email written to ksmith at private-i.com from jonesg@gmail.com. Subject, private eye position application. Good morning, Mr. Smith. I found your advertisement for a private investigator on LinkedIn, and I believe my skills are a perfect fit for your needs. I have attached my resume and cover letter as your advertisement requested. Looking forward to learning more about your goals, Gloria Jones. And I hope that these email tips are going to help you in writing an email effectively to brand yourself out there for the position. So I found an article that a recruiter has written about that's from the Fast Company. And she says, I review hundreds of cover letters, and here's what I instantly reject. So an experienced hiring manager explains what makes her eye glaze over and what grabs her attention. So that's what she's saying. I have read a lot of cover letters throughout my career. When I was a fellowship program manager, I reviewed them in consideration for more than 60 open positions each year. So I saw it all, the good, the bad, and the standout examples that I can still remember. As a result, I've become the go-to friend when people need feedback on their job applications. Based on my own experience, putting people in the yes and no pile, I'm able to give these cover letters a quick scan and immediately identify what will turn a hiring manager off. While I can't give you insight into every person's head who will be rating your materials, I can share with you the feedback that I give my own loved ones. Number 1, the basics. First things first, I skim the document for anything that could be disqualifying. That include typos, a dear sir or madam, or to whom it may concern salutation, or a vibe so non-specific that it reeks of find replace. I know it seems harsh, but when a hiring manager sees any one of these things, she reads it as is. I didn't take my time with this, and I don't really care about working here. So she's likely to pass. That's kind of a message she gets. You don't need to thank the hiring manager so incredibly much for reading your application. That's his job. Another thing I look for in this initial read-through is tone. Even if you're applying to your dream company, you don't want to come off like you think someone entertaining your candidacy is the same as him offering you water at the end of a lengthy hike. You don't need to thank the hiring manager so incredibly much for reading your application. That's his job. If you align considering your application with the biggest favor ever, you will make the other person think it's because you are desperate. So skip effusive thanks and demonstrate genuine interest by writing a cover letter that connects the dots between your experience and the requirements of the position. Telling the reader what you've accomplished and how it directly translates to meeting the company's needs is always a better use of space than gushing. Number 2, the opening sentence. If your first line reads, I'm writing to apply for job at company, I will delete it and suggest a swap every time. Yes, every single time. When a hiring manager sees that, she won't think, how thoughtful the applicant to remind me what I'm reading. Her reaction will be much closer to boring, meh, or even next. Compare it to one of these statements. I wanted to work in education ever since my 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Dorchester, helped me discover a love of reading. My approach to management is simple. I strive to be the kind of leader I want to work for. In my 3 years at prior company, I increased our average quarterly sales by percentage. See how these examples make you want to keep reading? That's half the battle right there. Additionally, it makes you memorable, which will help when you are competing against a sea of applicants. To try it out for yourself, pick a jumping off point. It could be something about you or an upset aspect of the job description that you are really drawn to. Then open a blank document and just free write. Sorry, I just got distracted with a phone call. So to try it out for yourself, pick a jumping off point. It could be something about you or an aspect of the job description that you're really drawn to. Then open a blank document and just free write. The translation could be write whatever comes to mind for 10 minutes. Some of the sentences you come up with will sound embarrassing or lame. That's fine. No one has to see those. Look for the sentences that are most engaging and see how it reads as the opening line for your cover letter. Number 3, the examples. Most often people send me just their cover letter and resume. So I don't have the benefit of reviewing the position description. And yet whenever a letter follows the format of I'm skilled at, skill, as evidenced by my time at place, or you're looking for skill and I'm talented skill, I could pretty much recreate it. Surprise, that's actually not a good thing. If you write a laundry list, it will blend into every other submission formatted the same way. Again, the goal isn't just to show you're qualified, it's to make the case that you are more qualified than all the other applicants. You want to make clear that distinguishes you, so the hiring manager can see why you are worth following up with to learn more. And again, you want to be memorable. If you write a laundry list, like I said before, and I'll repeat it, if you write a laundry list, it will blend into every other submission formatted the same way. So just like you went with a unique opener, do the same with your examples. Sure, you might still include list of skills, but break those up with anecdotes or splashes of personality. Here is a real 2-line excerpt from cover letter I've written before. If I'm in the conference room and the video isn't working, I'm not the sort to simply call IT and wait. It will also gracefully crawl under the table and check that everything is properly plugged in. A couple lines like this will not only lighten up your letter, but also highlight your soft skills. I got the point across that I'm a take charge problem solver without saying I'm a take charge problem solver. Plus, it gracefully shows that I don't take myself too seriously, even in a job application. If your submission follows the same list type format all the way through, see if you can't pepper in an example or anecdote that will add some personality. You want your cover letter to stand out for all the right reasons. So before you click submit, take a few minutes to make sure you are putting your best and most memorable foot forward. Have you thought about how you are going to land your next 6-figure position in 2018? How far along are you with preparations? Do you have a plan? The time to act is now. How much more successful do you think you could be if your executive LinkedIn profile generated double or even triple the number of quality job leads you are currently getting? How much closer would you be to finding that dream job if you were able to choose among multiple offers from potential employers? Learn how to take control of your job search by listening to my show every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on Armed Radio, or message me on Let's Talk Careers with Sara and join my group, Let's Talk Careers Inner Circle on Facebook, to post any career questions for free advice. Thank you so much for listening to my show. I'll see you next Wednesday for more of advice from me. You are tuning in on Armed Radio and Let's Talk Careers with Sara every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. I talk about careers and job hunting. If you would like to ask a question or would like to hear about previous shows that you have missed, you can find me on Facebook at Let's Talk Careers with Sara. You can learn about jobs, tips, and advice on my page. If you have a career-related question, you can just message me on Facebook.